Hi friends, I'm Ashley and welcome to Darling Cottage Diary. Today I am gonna walk you through the process of how I made some of my own stationery paper. Those big 12 by 12 or 6 by 6 papers you get at the craft store. I love buying those just if I'm out and I don't want to spend a bunch of money, or I'm just window shopping, because walking around looking at pretty things is a fun hobby, but I know I'm on a budget. I'm totally guilty of just getting one or two of the pretty little papers. I don't have a project in mind usually, but I just have them and I find them inspiring. And so if I have them when I am in the mood to craft, or I have an idea come to mind, it's nice to have a variety of those papers. And so I wanted to make my own, and I've made a lot of my own stickers. I've made just like a painted on book pages. I've done a couple of different things, but making just an actual paper that was meant to be textured and everything else, but then photographed and reprinted in high resolution, I haven't done that very often. And so I wanted to do one for Ephemera Club this month. They voted on Woodland creatures. So I wanted to do kind of like an enchanted forest theme for this paper, so that they could use that to print out, and we'll be using it in the tutorial that I'm going to do next week, which I'm super excited about. I haven't fully formed it in my mind, but I know it's going to be some sort of like little tea bag wallet or something for sending in Happy Mail. But I wanted it to have this woodland paper in the background that all of us could make from the same paper. So the book pages, I found that book, it's I think the 1920s, 1930s, beautiful vintage book, but it did have some water damage. And, to be honest, sometimes even if a book is in good condition, if it is not a rare book, I always check to make sure that they're not rare books. If it's not a rare book, I still will tear it apart. I have mostly overwhelmingly positive feedback and happy vibes sent my way on social media. The primary negative things I hear that are, either this is a waste of time, I don't get it, that's pretty common. But the other one is, oh, why would you tear up books? Why would you're desecrating books or whatever? And I don't think most people realize how many books end up in landfills, how many books end up just in putting a strain on our waste management. And if you can find an inexpensive book at an estate sale or at a thrift store, you can kind of give that book a new life. Even if you're tearing it apart, you're still using it in your artwork, which brings you joy, brings you relaxation. It's still a really good way to use old books, especially if it's not one that you're going to sit down and read or decorate your house with. So I always like to try to explain that, because some people don't realize that even if they're old, which is awesome and they're beautiful, that makes them beautiful ephemera, but at the same time, it can also, a lot of them end up in landfills anyway, even if they're old and beautiful. So anyway, they get a new life here, and I love using them in all kinds of artwork. So I really like the look of this paint over, and this is a complete artistic experiment for me. I've never used ink or watercolor or anything on top of acrylic paint, which I did not really think about when I started. But as you can see, the color variation is quite different on the acrylic paint that I use to kind of obscure a lot of the text in the background. The color reaction is different on the regular paper versus the acrylic. So that was an interesting experiment to see making this, and I kind of had to adjust as I worked, because I had a picture in my head and I ended up having to backtrack a little bit and try to not fix it, because there wasn't anything wrong with it, but I had to adjust my expectations of what the final product was going to look like and adjust how the techniques I thought would work were going to work. So I hear a lot from people that, oh, I wish I had the time, or I was as creative as you. I hear a lot of that on my social media comments, which is so hilarious because I'm just a regular person. You know, I'm a regular person. I work a regular job and everything, and this is just how I keep my sanity. And so it's like I can try, and I can mess up, or what feels like messing up, and it's been a really good exercise in trying to train myself to, well, I'm not messing up. It just wasn't as expected, and now I have to just pivot, and I have to just adapt, and maybe this will work, and maybe this will work. And sometimes I just throw an entire project away. I try to keep a lot of the what feel like mistakes in my videos so that it's relatable, because if you're a crafter, and if you're on this channel, I'm assuming you are, you know that you'll start something and it's like, that's not it. But that's okay. And sometimes it ends up happy accident. It's prettier than you thought it would be. So anyway, there's my little 2 cents about, you know, beginning, the difficulties of beginning a project sometimes. The fear of it not turning out great. Just try again. It's just paper. It's something that's really nice about paper craft, is like, it's just paper. It's not like if you sew something wrong, you feel like you wasted a whole bunch of fabric, or, you know, that's expensive, or, you know, if you're using really expensive paints it's like there are all these other craft mediums that are beautiful and take a lot of skill that you have to practice at anyway. Anything you learn, you have to practice at. But it's like paper, it's like, oh, okay, I just start over. I could burn this and it'd be fine. I feel like there's a lot less pressure in paper craft than pretty much any other crafting, at least that I do. So here I'm just adding in a few extra little branches. I wanted it to look like you were looking, I wanted it to look like kind of you're looking through maybe a birch tree forest. And I wish I could remember where I saw that old credit card technique for making the trees. I saw it scrolling one night and just thought it was cool. And then when I went back to try to find the creator who did it so I could credit them, I couldn't find it. It was lost in the abyss of the internet. So, but it has been a great technique. I've used it for all kinds of different trees. I've used it for buildings in some cases. I've used it for all kinds of plant stems. So definitely recommend doing that. It's just one of my old driver's licenses I put tape on for privacy, but yeah, I really like using that technique. And here, oh my goodness, like I said, having things in my head, I did not expect the coloring to have such a big contrast on the regular paper versus the acrylic I obscured the letters with. And I wanted this background to be dark green, and it turned out being just I ended up just highlighting the acrylic, which was okay. I thought, okay, well, you know what, I'll go get some leaves, some weeds out of my yard, and there's already this dark green background. I'll use some lighter stamp ink, stamp on top of it, so there's kind of a contrast relief. That also did not work, as you will see. So then I was racking my brain and just ended up using my Cricut to cut out some leaves. But it ended up working out. I really like how it turned out. I'm just using a regular old makeup sponge, and you can tell it's probably, this bag of makeup sponge was probably 15 years old because of the shape. There are all those little round corner things now, and I just found this in the back of my bathroom cabinet. So if you run out of your blending tool covers and you can't run to the store, use an old makeup sponge. But anyway, so the leaf technique that I wanted to work did not work. So I ended up resorting to using my Cricut to give the leaf relief that I wanted, to give the leaf design that I wanted. And I like how it turned out anyway, because you have this green canopy with the darker leaves and branches kind of in the foreground, which I think gives a little bit of a contrast, not only of it being transitioning to autumn, but as well probably transitioning to nighttime. So it's okay. It ended up being nicer than I thought. I thought I was going to have to start all over, but luckily I think it saved it. So this was really fun. My Cricut and I we're getting used to each other. We're still dating at this point. We're not married. I'm not sure if I'm fully into using it all the time. I still feel like I'm learning all of its little quirks, but I am enjoying the relationship so far. So I'll keep you updated on how much I'm managing the Cricut. but this little glue dot roller, because there were so many there's a lot of pieces in the foreground, I decided to just use it on the background so that it added extra glue dots. I didn't want to use a regular background sheet and then that extra glue would kind of go to waste. So it worked out, and you can't see any of it because these glue dots are clear. Some glue dots are not clear, and I didn't realize that when I bought the little ice cream ones I have. Those are all pink. So those I have to be careful to only use on stuff that I know is going to be it's not transparent and it's not going to be on the background. But anyway, before we've completely finished the video, I did want to go ahead and thank my Ephemera Club for supporting me this month. Kristen, Cindy, Abigail, Kathleen, Rebecca, Sasha, Patsy, Teresa, Effie, Kim, Emily, Carly, Carrie, LP, Crystal, Tracy, Britt, Rebecca, Alicia, Kasia, Kenna, Rachel, Denise, W, Jennifer, Ariel, and Rasha. So if you don't know what Ephemera Club is, I mentioned it at the beginning of the video. It's a little club where I send you digital ephemera and monthly prompts. You get to vote on prompts. We have a Discord server where this week we've been talking about being burnt out and things we do to try to get past creative block. So we get to hang out on there, and then if you're part of the Ephemera Club tier, then I send you physical happy snail mail with handmade designs that I've done or vintage pieces that I've found. And it's a lot of fun. I hope everybody's still enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. And this little mushroom here, oh my goodness. That mushroom I showed you in the journal from, I think I did that last fall. It's the best mushroom I've ever drawn. It's my most favorite mushroom I've ever drawn, so I always reference it whenever I draw new ones because I just feel like I can't make any better than that one. But I wanted this one to be red so that, if you have access to like the $3 tier, you get access to, in Ephemera Club, you get access to this page digitally, and you can print it out as many times as you want. So I wanted to offer, a pretty background to work on, but I wanted something that you could fussy cut as well. So that's something that was like bright and stood out. And I don't know, red mushrooms, the Amanita muscardia, they're so pretty, and they remind me of an enchanted forest. Like instantly I'm transported to an enchanted forest, and I think that there are unicorns that are going to step out at any time. They don't grow where I live because I live in a very hot place. They like cold weather, but I have seen them growing in Washington State, and it was magical. So anyway, I always like having those because they're just very pretty. So this was a super fun collage project. I'm elated with how it came out, and I will be using this printed sheet next week in a tutorial, a little pocket tutorial. So if you want to see that, make sure you're subscribed and you like the videos so that YouTube shows you my videos next weekend. I post every Sunday. I hope you have a wonderful week, and thank you so much for being here. Bye.